Guys, it's finally happened. I have beaten Donkey Kong Bananza, and I'm ready to give my review. And I have a lot to say, so stick around, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's jump right into it. So, to discuss Donkey Kong Bananza, first we must discuss expectations. Just a little bit. Now, I've always been a fan of the Donkey Kong Country series, which is the 2D platformers, and that's mostly what I like about Donkey Kong. The 5 Donkey Kong Country games. 1, 2, 3, Returns, and Tropical Freeze. So when I heard Donkey Kong was going 3D, instantly your mind goes to Donkey Kong 64. A game that isn't as beloved, we'll say. Well, I'm pleased to report that despite the fact that I had some reservations before this game came out, I was worried about some of the mechanics. This game absolutely slaps. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's totally a 10 out of 10. That's without a question. Now, I still got to go back and do a bunch of side content, a bunch of post-game stuff. There's still a whole lot to do. I could probably play this game another 20, 30 hours exploring and doing side things. And I already sunk in, probably 20-ish hours or so to beat the main campaign. So, I think I've played enough of this game, though, to give my full thoughts. I don't think it's going to change too much, good or bad, with the post-game. I'm feeling 10 out of 10 here. And we'll get into some of the comparisons of what that means for Donkey Kong later. But let's just go through the game itself. Starting with the gameplay. Gameplay is front and center. Gameplay is the main course of this delightful dish. It's not just the digging, the powering through walls. It's the animal abilities, the different things you could do when you're transformed into animals, and it leads right into the environments. The environments are very conducive to creative gameplay, to innovative gameplay. Almost like how people talk about Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, where you could kind of pick your own path or carve your own path to get stuff done. I've never been big on that before. I always prefer a developer give me the set path and then I do the thing. Well, with Donkey Kong Bananza, I really felt that freedom of tackling a challenge any way I see fit, whether that was the game's intended idea or not. How to get from point A to point B, there are multiple ways to do it. That leads right into the different powers. You have the snake power, where you can jump high. You got the zebra power, which lets you run on certain surfaces that you otherwise couldn't. You have sort of this beefed up, more powerful Donkey Kong that can punch through walls and thorns that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. You have a Rhino Donkey Kong. You have, Rhino or whatever. And of course, my personal favorite, at least the one I used a lot, you had the bird that could flap its wings and go from platform to platform. The actual platforming here is pretty fun. It's not the front, center stage attraction like the plowing through walls and digging holes and climbing is, but it is still terrific. And then that leads into a lot of things like the enemies. The enemies look unique. The enemies feel unique. There's a big variety of enemies. There's a big variety of bosses that, you're allowed the freedom to sort of take them out how you want, but there's also certain ways that are more effective. I love the bosses in this game. There were a ton of bosses. The final boss is absolutely insane. It's awesome. Spoiler alert, King K. Rool has returned in the final section. As far as gameplay goes, with this game as well. It's not open world as much as it is open layer, is what I would call it. Because you're digging down layers to get to the core of the planet so you can make a wish. And this sort of leads into the story. So Donkey Kong can make a wish for bananas, and so Pauline can make a wish for going back to the surface. And the big reward is when you do get to the surface, you're in New Donk City, which some of you may know that from Super Mario Odyssey. So it's highly rewarding. Story-wise, don't get me started on timeline bullshit. I am not here to argue Donkey Kong timeline. I think that's silly. But making Pauline a kid was a brilliant choice. And her and Donkey Kong have a ton of chemistry in this game. You really believe they are just the best of friends after they meet each other. And she really brings an element to this game that makes you care more about the story as much as you can for a 3D platformer. And that brings me to the voice acting. Pauline is absolutely terrific voice acting wise. Honestly, this may be some of the best voice acting I've ever seen in a Nintendo game, including her singing, which brings me to the music. The music is absolutely incredible. Remixed old Donkey Kong tracks, new tracks, even a lot of the game you're picking up different CD parts to progress. Progression is so great in this game. It feels so satisfying to defeat a boss or to get the certain things you need to get to open up the next layer below you. And you can really just stay in that layer and try to 100% that layer before you go down. And you're not required to get any of the bananas. You could bypass them all if you wanted. Which brings me, though, to why you want to pick up those bananas, because it has a skill tree. And this skill tree is so diverse with different attacks and different buffs. It allows the player to really feel like they can affect the game depending what skill they get. For every 5 bananas you earn, you're able to unlock a skill point. When you start putting skill points into a skill, it takes more skill points to upgrade that skill some more. So either that's encouraging you to diversify your skills, or you have to work harder to get certain skills maxed out. And there are 777 bananas in this game. So if you love collectibles, this is a collector's dream. For a lot of people, this game starts when the main game ends and the credits roll. So, I highly recommend this game. There might be some people out there that just don't like platformers, that don't like games like this, they don't like Donkey Kong. Maybe they're people that only play shooters, they only play a certain type of game, and it's not for them. That's about it. Everybody else, I'd recommend it to. Whether you're an old head that loved Donkey Kong in the past, whether you're an adult gamer in the prime of your gaming life, whether you're a young kid, I think this game's accessible enough. I think it can be played by young children. But I think some of the harder stuff is difficult enough to keep you very entertained as an adult who's a serious gamer as well. That final boss fight, I was sweating it out. I'm not going to lie. It's very epic. A lot of these fights feel very, Legend of Zelda-esque, or Metroid-esque, or Xenoblade-esque even, or Wonderful 101-esque, or Mario-esque, to a degree, especially the final boss. And the animations are so great. Every character is so vibrant and just out there with their emotions. So it was well designed. The frame rate is terrific, even when you're digging, even when you're going through walls. I noticed no dips, no issues, so it performs incredibly well. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen on any system, period, if you're talking just if you care about graphics. And it is a stylized art. It's not going for photorealism, which, thank God it's not. Imagine how Donkey Kong would look. But I like Donkey Kong's new look. It seems like they made him dumber a little bit, maybe, but that's about it. There are shops you could visit where you could trade in Banandium gems or trade in like chips to get things, and there's different outfits you can unlock. So there's a lot to do in this game, even beyond just mainlining it. But if you do just mainline it, like I mostly did so far, it's just absolute fun. You'll get lost for hours. All of a sudden, you'll be playing. Hours will have passed. You won't even care. It's literally just fun enjoyment from beginning to end without stopping. It's very hard to put this game down. I love it. I absolutely love it. It far exceeded any of my expectations. And that's where we have to talk about legacy with this game. So where does this game fit in? We got to talk about comparing it to other great games, because that's what you do with great games, right? It's a 10 out of 10, so you can't get much better. So we'll talk about the direct comparison. How does it compare to Super Mario Odyssey? Well, we know Odyssey got a 97 on Metacritic. This game got a 91. I think this game should be closer to a 97 on Metacritic. I think it should be, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, so obviously I believe that. Odyssey, also, somewhat similar. It had different kingdoms, much like this has different layers. You could clearly see how this is basically Odyssey 2, but Donkey Kong style. You know what I'm saying? And I love it, and I'm here for it. And this game could have been made with Mario, but because of the smashing elements, it made more sense for Donkey Kong. Very creative, very unique, very original. You don't see that a lot in gaming now. In the era of remakes, remasters, requels, prequels, sequels, ports, reboots, whatever, reimaginings, all the R's, right? Throw all that shit out. This game is original, unique, awesome. Okay. It's still too early for me to say whether I would take this over Odyssey. Now, my favorite 3D platformer still is and will probably always be Super Mario 64. It's got the nostalgia that this game and Odyssey just flatly doesn't have. So, outside of that, Odyssey and this game are neck and neck. Okay? As far as 3D platformers go. This is better than Galaxy. It's better than Galaxy 2. It's better than Sunshine. It's better than 3D Land, 3D World, even though there's a 2.5D games, technically. It's better than Kirby Forgotten Land. It's better than last year's Game of the Year winner, Astrobot. And we've already got 3 games this year that I think are better than Astrobot last year. Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Mario Kart World, and now Donkey Kong Bonanza. And we're still waiting to see what Metroid Prime 4 does. This could be a very good year for gaming and Nintendo as a whole, obviously. So how does it compare to those games? I think it's better than Clear Obscure Expedition 33, although that's like comparing apples and oranges. And then, really, what I'll have to decide, and I have till the end of the year to decide this. I won't decide this now. I'm going to sit on this, chew on this, play the post-game. Is it better than Mario Kart World? And the fact that I feel so 50-50 about it right now is pretty crazy, considering how excited I was for Mario Kart World and how much it delivered for me. I don't know which game I'll end up with more playtime on. Obviously, right now, that's Mario Kart World. But I got a lot to do in Donkey Kong, side mission-wise and stuff. So I really will have to sit down at the end of the year and decide which game's better. And that the better game will probably be the game of the year for me. So yeah, this is definitely the best non-Mario 3D platformer. This is just flatly either the second or third best 3D platformer of all time, depending if I feel like Odyssey's better or not. I really got to sit on that too. I did a top 10 Donkey Kong game list of all time somewhat recently. Throw that out. This is the best Donkey Kong game, so I like it better than all 5 Donkey Kong Country games. In fact, if you were to tell me, RJ, would you prefer a collection of all 5 Donkey Kong Country Returns games in a single package? Or would you take Donkey Kong Bonanza, just Bonanza? What would you choose? It's a wash. It's a tie. And that's very similar to in the Super Nintendo era. Would I rather have Super Mario World or Super Mario All-Stars? Come on. I can't choose that. Okay, guys? I can't choose that. But it's better than each single Donkey Kong Country game, including my personal favorite Donkey Kong game. When I was growing up as a kid, it beat the nostalgia of Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, which is really, really saying something, because I freaking love that game. That's like an all-time top 20 for me. This game could be in my all-time top 10. It's up there, guys. I'm telling you, it's around the all-time greats. I wouldn't say it's like one of in the GOAT discussion, but it's up there. It really, really is. Like, my favorite game in the 2020s is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Okay, this game might be the second best game of the 2020s. Let that sink in. For me. So, I can't praise this game enough. I think I gave you guys an in-depth review. I hope this helps you make a purchasing decision on this. Don't miss out. Give this a try. It's absolutely worth the $70. This is absolutely going to be a system seller for the Switch 2. And I'm very, very happy. With that being said, guys, that's the end of the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I'm out.